on the landing there, but nowhere near as bad. But 9.725. Well, the judge's word is final, and Milicevic sees her second gold opportunity disappear. She goes into second position behind Yelena Pyskuin of Belarusia. 9.750 is still the target score.
Yes, I think that Milicevic probably loses the majority of her tenths on the final move, the dismount, because it is a V value. That's the highest rating, but it's split tuck, and she has her feet turned up. She travelled away from the bar, and she really hesitated on the landing, and that really just spoiled what was otherwise an excellent routine. I don't know why they don't work on that, because it spoils the ship for a Hepa Qatar.
Spain's challenger, Mercedes Pacheco from Madrid.
Nice piked Jaeger, and Mercedes a fabulous gymnast. Oh yes, beautiful. Healy to inverts and a Jaeger from inverts. And double whip. She really is exciting to watch. She exudes confidence and sparkle. She really has got quite a personality in her gymnastics, something very, very different and nice to see. We saw that on floor yesterday, but how do you project your personality from bars? And yet she manages to.
Sprightly and somewhat cheeky, certainly very entertaining indeed. Mercedes Pacheco had a good day's competition yesterday. She came in 10th position in the all-around competition, and certainly very pleasing to watch. Aesthetically very slick.
And the combination there into that Jaeger from inverts was beautifully executed. Undershoot over the bottom bar. Perhaps she could have lost marks on because she didn't have an extension before the upstart. And again, not picking up bonus points on the end, so her starting value 9.9 rather than 10, I would think.
Well, she's challenging 9.750, and she scored just below that, 9.737, her A-bars scoring in that all-around competition. And she's done it, 9.800, and Spain's Mercedes Pacheco finds herself in first position, on target for gold with just 4 competitors to come. We certainly enjoyed it, the judges agreed, and it's Spain in the gold medal position.
And that is a surprise. And I think that she got there on pure quality of work. Wonderful quality gymnastics.
Competition is by no means over, and it's a worthy point to make that there were 4 performers over 9.800 in that all-around competition. There was a 9.862 from Svetlana Korkina, who is still to perform, as was Lelia Podkopayeva. So 4 performers to bring this second of the 4 apparatus to a close, and they include Fabricianova, Podkopayeva, Svetlana Tarasevic and Svetlana Korkina. But Spain are in gold medal position, and it's been a long time since I can certainly remember Spain claiming gold, and possibly their first ever. I think that's one for the expert, Monica.
Yes, I don't think that they've ever had a gold medal on an individual piece of apparatus since 1957. Since I can remember. They've got bronze medals. I think Eva Rueda had a bronze medal on vault. And Eva Rueda was a finalist on bars, but it would be great if she could hold on. But quite honestly, I can't see her holding on to the first position with what's to follow. Having another look at that routine now. The Hecht. Beautiful line Mercedes shows. And there the piked Jaeger from the blind change. And then the Healy to inverts into the Jaeger. That a particularly difficult skill. And just spotting the dismount. So accurate and lots of variety.
Well, a round of applause from her coach, Jesus Carvalho, there, and I'm sure he will be as eager as we are to see the second part of this 8-competitor final for the asymmetric bars, and it really would be a sensation. I know we have a lot of Eurosport viewers over in Spain, and I'm sure that they are as happy as the crowd were with that decision from the judges. 9.800 is now the target. Mercedes Pacheco leads. Jelena Prizquin with 9.750 goes into second position. Lavinia Milicevic, 9.725 is the score that at this point in the final will bring a bronze medal. A quick warm-up for the other 4 competitors, as there in the black gym suit, number 98, Oksana Fabrichinova, the 15-year-old from Moscow, coached by Natalia Tokareva. And Fabrichinova, 7th position in yesterday's all-around competition, and she also, like Lavinia Milicevic, had a little bit of a disaster on this apparatus. 9.300.
Yes, Fabrichinova, a really wonderful gymnast, in fact. She has all the qualities to be a world champion, but in every major event so far, other than her domestic ones, the Moscow News, and I think one of the Grand Prix events in Rome where she won, she has had an error. So really her consistency is very much the question mark. But she does have time. She's only 16 years old and she's got plenty of time.
Well, the highlight of Oksana's career to date was a bronze medal in the beam exercise at the World Championships in Australia. And that's such a good point that you've made there, Monica, because that could have quite easily been gold for Oksana, bar a few wobbles and quite clearly a bout of competition nerves. Well, hopefully she's gained in the experience from Brisbane and she can now make her mark in world-class competition and move up a couple of places. 9.800. Will need something quite special to steal the lead away from the young Spanish girl. But in theory, she has the ability. It's a matter of turning that ability into a competitive performance. Crowd now waiting patiently. I think they're possibly as excited as we are at the opportunity, or the possibility, I should say, of Spain's first ever gold medal in the Women's European Championships in the individual apparatus.
Well, the judges they're certainly not giving anything away in these finals. We can't compare the judging totally to yesterday because this is competition 3. And the demands of the gymnast are greater. They have to have 2 elements of D value today, whereas yesterday they only had to produce 1.
Second half of the 8-gymnast final in the asymmetric bars. Fabrichinova for Russia.
Nice combination there. All of her teammates shouting, but a hesitant straddle up to handstand. Oh, yes, and a big finish. And one of the most spectacular aspects of that routine was the distance, the height, the variety of her skills. She didn't work close to the bars. She swung easily, knew exactly where the bar was. In fact, she looked a foot longer than she really is when she was going around the bars. Just the catcher there in the opposite direction, and then the under somersault to recatch the bottom bar, which has been very much a movement of 1994. Until 94, we hadn't seen it. and then it dominated the exercises in the World Championships. But that hesitance on the lift to handstand probably cost her 0.05. Now just watch the lift into the dismount, a very big dismount too. The Giant, she knows exactly where that bar is, just misses it by a hair's breadth, and then really hauls herself up into the air. Look at that, double twisting, double back. And that is one heck of a dismount.
9.837. Well, young Mercedes Pacheco could only hold on to first position for a short while, and there's a little smile. Thank you, Oksana. But a very pleasing performance indeed. Not quite as dynamic, but the artistry seemed to flow. It was smooth, and that big dismount has put Russia now in first position in the asymmetric bars. But this could also be a short-lived lead. If this youngster can pull something special out, she certainly has the ability. She's claimed a bronze medal in the vault final. Lilia Podkopoyeva, the 15-year-old from Donetsk in the Ukraine, coached by Galina Lorenskaya. And I know, Monica, you rate this youngster very, very highly, but another one that also gets the nerves and allows that to get the better of her performance.
Yes, she's a bit like Fabrichnova, really. She's always made some mistakes, but it sounds a very critical thing to say. But of course they're young and they're performing at the top of their ability range in these competitions. They've not long been out of the junior ranks, and they're trying to win. If they were going into place safe, we'd think that they were wonderful gymnasts because they didn't make any errors. But they're going to produce the very, very best gymnastics in the world, and they take risks. But I fancy if anybody could overhaul Fabrichnova, it's this one. Much more complicated mount than Fabrichnova. Bottom bar work, shape, the Giant. Full twisting hop, full pirouette, Ginger. Giant, Giant. Full in, back out. Well, I fancy that could even go in the lead of Fabrichnova. And if it doesn't, there'll be very little to choose between them. But I think she's on variety throughout the routine. I think that Podkopoyeva has just got the edge.